What's good, YouTube? Sappy Crew coming back with another video. I done had to redo this about 3 times, but I ain't tripping. And each time I had some good points, but shoot, I'm gonna have a good point every time because I'm just gonna have a good point every time. So I ain't gonna even waste no time. We just going the first time. I talk too much, and then the video was cutting out on me supposedly because I ain't have enough storage. So I'm glad it cut out because I was talking too much. I wasn't even 3 minutes into the video and made them 20 minutes already. So yeah, we just gonna go ahead, get straight into it, and waste no time.
And it just so happens that the opioid epidemic correlated to our time in Afghanistan. We've even got information about aliens that doesn't sound so cooked up anymore. There's a lot going on these days. So I've been busy trying to sort fact from fiction over on TikTok. I started a channel 2 months ago.
I done smoked 3 blunts trying to do this video as well. This is my 3rd one right here. So that's why I'm rolling this one and kind of taking my time, because I wanted to kind of smoke a blunt while I roll the video, which I still will, but I done smoked 3 already trying to do this video.
A lot of people want to know what the heck's going on because we're at almost 1 million followers in 2 months. And I was tracking the number of followers I had, and apparently a lot of us have some questions. Questions about dudes like this, questions for dudes like this. And I don't know about you, but I don't want an answer like this. I'm sick of getting answers like this. I want answers like this, and answers like this with data. I want some answers that I can cross-check with my own research of information that's actually sourced, please and thank you. Because if you're trying to tell me that reptilians own the world, I'm gonna have to see some documentation. And you know, fair game, right? And I'm not trying to say everyone's making shit up. Like, we got a lot of government officials telling us that UFOs are real these days, but I would like to know the real evidence, please. Why are we arguing about this when we should be talking about the fact that the CIA does this to us? And can we please stop getting called crazy for asking legitimate questions that any 5-year-old would ask when they see this stuff? It is 2023, and I would love some real evidence to support the claims that people are making about the world and not just trust the experts. Experts in science should be citing real information, right?
Because honestly, we can't really trust them, what they tell us. They done told us so much stuff that was proven to be wrong over the years. I mean, shit, they just a bunch of people in some lab coats that's supposedly experts. But anybody could become an expert if they do their research and study it. That's all they did. They was just a bunch of people who studied something for a long time in their life. That's all a researcher expert is.
Alright, we're not going to talk about the whole thing that just happened for the last 3 years. Everyone's way too pissed off about that in every direction. Y'all can make your own conclusions and draw your own opinions.
They ain't do nothing or did nothing more special than any one of y'all could do. All they did was just search a topic for a long time, their whole life. That's it.
Comes to those major political things. Because this space right here is not about being partisan. This investigation is not about right versus left. It's about right versus wrong. And there are some very wrong things going on in the world today that we need to talk about. Problems that affect us here at home, our families, our loved ones, our friends. Problems that we might be getting lied to about and misled about for the gain of, I don't know, military contractors, pharmaceutical companies, media outlets, banks. I mean, could we please stop making things like this partisan and have a legitimate discussion about the way that giant megacorporations are destroying our way of life for their profits? I mean, if you were alive back in 2001, you probably weren't told that these guys actually outlaw this stuff and they burn all the fields and cut its production by like 90% when they're in charge of that country. And we went over there to fix this thing down here. And somehow we wound up fixing this thing right here. I'm not saying it was intentional, allegedly. This is all This is all just for entertainment purposes, YouTube. I'm not saying this is fact. I'm just presenting a bunch of made-up information that are sourced from government databases.
And this video right here will kind of catch you up on like everything that I've been talking about, how everything is intertwined and interconnected. And this is gonna let you, this video is gonna tell you and catch you up.
Implying intent. I'm not accusing anyone of any crime.
He pretty much did all the research that you need to know for the most part for you. And then if you want to know some deeper facts, you might have to go search it on your own. But this will literally prove everything.
All that I'm saying is that it's about time that we had an intelligent discussion as adults about what the heck is going on. And we stopped calling each other far-right extremists and left-wing snowflakes and just got together in the middle and simmered down a little bit and talked about it. So, you ready? We calm, we collected. We ready to talk about it? You ready to talk about it? You ready to talk about it? Let's roll that intro, baby.
Conspiracy theories are dangerous.
Information is the oxygen of a democracy.
With Republicans, with progressives, with libertarians, because this is not about right and left, this is about right and wrong.
All right, you ready for this? A lot of you are new here, a lot of you have been here, but we're starting a new series. This episode, we're gonna run through how we got here, bit of an intro, bit of a catch up for people that haven't been following along on TikTok. And if you're newer on the TikTok and you haven't been there since the beginning, like most of you are from Shampoo. I see you, I know what you're up to. You came for the shampoo videos. We're gonna rewind a little bit and show you where we started, so you're caught up on all the things we've learned that got us to here, because this YouTube channel is started for a very specific reason, and that reason, we'll get to that. You thought I was gonna just give it away. We'll get to that in a minute. You ready to do this? You ready to get learnt? So if you're not familiar with what's going on, around here, we started a TikTok channel about 2 months ago, and we started right here. And I was just here trying to do some research, trying to figure out who owns the media, who owns food and big pharma and the military industrial complex. And I started out tracking my progress back in May when we started. And apparently, we all want to know what the hell's going on these days. So a lot of you are probably these guys who heard about me through some shampoo video. And we are not here to talk about shampoo. If you want to know about shampoo...
And it's the Great Awakening, the age of the awakening. That's why everybody now is starting to figure out and find out stuff, because it's the Great Awakening. And they knew this would happen. They planned it to happen. Everything that's happening is because they planned it to. They put people out there to release certain information that spark people's minds. And then now we got conspiracy theories until now, where everybody is starting to realize it's not conspiracy no more, it's true. Everything is a plan, just like what happened in the last days back then, in ancient times. It's all prophecies they're trying to fulfill.
Making your hair fall out, you can go over to the other site and watch them clock videos, and we'll talk about it over there. This YouTube channel has been started for one very specific reason.
That's how they know everything that's gonna happen, because they planned it to happen.
I'll give you one hint. You got it? This is not a show about credentials. And if you're coming here expecting some PhD expert to tell you with authority how the world works, you can go over to CNBC, where they got their experts on their shows. This show is about doing your own research and about trying to uncover the truth. And if you don't already realize why it's important that we figure out the truth together instead of relying on the mainstream media to tell us the truth, then let me explain. Here's where we all started, with the news. And you might be thinking, Comcast, that's not the news, is it? Well, actually, if you watch MSNBC, CNBC, NBC, any of that conglomerate, that's owned by Comcast. And Comcast is a publicly traded corporation. And their top shareholders are Vanguard and BlackRock. And, other gigantic private money management. Oh yeah, but Ian, I watch Fox. I watch CNN. So you see, this all started when we realized that all of the news in America is owned by these 6 companies. And what do these 6 companies have in common? Well, I highlighted in red how their top shareholders are almost always Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, gigantic money management firms that we invest our money in but they vote the shares in their corporate interests. And it turns out that they own basically everything in the market. Just ahead of people like JP Morgan Chase, Capital World Investment Group, a bunch of big money that does not represent our interests at all. Did the same digging into banks. Turns out that all the big banks all own each other. It's a bunch of circular ownership. But obviously it doesn't stop with banks, because they own all the biggest defense contractors in the country. And by defense contractors, let's be clear, we're talking about people that make bombs and planes and guns and munitions. Oh yeah, and the same money also owns all the construction companies that go and rebuild places after they bomb them. And they also own the energy companies that give the energy for those wars and for all of us to live. Oh wait, I'm green, baby. I don't buy into that. Big money's green too, baby. Top shareholders in all these, like First Solar, Tesla. What are you gonna do? The more I looked at,
they're all in on it. There's nothing we can do unless we stop participating in the bullshit.
all these different industries and looked into all the different companies that are at the top of each.
Cause they not working. We're the ones who giving them all the money. If you think about it, what do you think a president and them do all day in the office? 9 times out of 10, they not even in the office. They're not even at the White House all the time. They're out doing speeches and meeting with people. What do you think they be doing all the time? They don't really have no real work like how we work. They don't for real work. They could be out partying for all we know. Ain't the only time they in the White House or whatever is to sign a fake ass bill or pass or vote on a fake ass bill or something. Who knows what they do? We only have a picture or can only think of what they do because they gave us movies and shit of what they do. But who knows what they really do? We're not there, so we can't know. They all
Street. The more I realize that the same big money controls most of the market. Each one of these little squares, rectangles, is a different company. And each one, you can't see at this scale, but they're all highlighted in red that the top.
Even the school curriculum, because where do you think the school curriculum come from? The government, or somebody who's working for the government. So
shareholders is all BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Berkshire Hathaway, Capital Research Investments, Dodge & Cox. Like, we know these guys real well by now. We obviously did big pharma too, big tech, food and beverage, airlines. They even own the hospice, funeral, and cemetery industry. I mean, come on. Eventually I said, screw it. And I learned how to become a data analyst and imported all the data from the top 100 companies in the stock market to find out just how much of the market all of these companies own. And it turns out that when you add up Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, this is the percent of the capital that they own of the top 100 companies in the market. And some quick math here, 8 plus 14 is 22, 22 plus 17 is 39%, plus these points makes about 40% of the top 100 companies are owned by just 3 management firms. That's almost half. We're not even going to go into the metric I made up to figure out how much voting rights each of these firms control, because dang! Talking about companies like Apple and Microsoft and Amazon, like ExxonMobil and Halliburton. We're talking about companies that you've never even heard of that make things like the microchips in the bombs and the trackers in your cell phone. They own all of that. It just kept feeling like all roads led back to BlackRock. But there's more to the story. Because you see, the thing is that BlackRock wasn't founded until like the 80s. Larry Fink is a new guy on the scene. And banks like JP Morgan have been around since, like 1900, give or take. Like, banking as an institution predates America and started in Europe hundreds of years ago. And by the time America was even founded, the Bank of England was a global superpower controlling the whole world through shadow business banking bullshit. And so even though BlackRock gets lots of views on virality apps like TikTok, There's no way that BlackRock is actually controlling the world. There's no way that BlackRock is actually the deep dark villain at the end of the train, especially because it's so easy to find information on BlackRock these days. It's almost like BlackRock is being dangled out in front of us so that we pay attention to BlackRock.
And they are. They are just be dangled out in front of us because I said just be dangled. they is just dangling out because they not the real power. They just like the forefront, the person. Like I feel like it's a pyramid scheme. The people who we think is in power ain't even the ones who really in power. They're just the people for the faces behind the people, or for the ones who really in power. That's what I think. We ain't gonna never know who they is, but the UN, I think he might mention something about the UN in this, or it might be a different video, but I know if he do, that's United Nations, and we done already talked about United Nations, about Carl Schwab or Charles Schwab, whatever his name is, and that's the dude that wants you to eat bugs whenever they bring that real ID shit in, and then once they bring the credit score in with it, if you ain't got enough money to eat, if you ain't got enough points, a high enough credit score, social score, you ain't gonna be able to eat. You're gonna have to eat some bugs, some mealworms. They're gonna be like, try some mealworms or something. It's gonna go something like that. I'm telling you, they already got it in China. Anything, if you speak out against the government, if you say anything bad, if you're not, they can take away your points. If you don't, or if you film somebody, now snitching is for real gonna be a big thing, because if you film somebody or capture somebody and snitch on somebody who do something bad, your credit score will go up. So it's gonna be people out here trying to get some brownie points. You feel me? So you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. You ain't got enough points, you ain't gonna be able to watch TV or watch your favorite show, the popular shows. You have to watch some other bullshit. Or ain't gonna be able to watch TV at all if your social score ain't high.
Don't look behind the curtain. And that's because every time we looked behind the curtain, we seem to find, examples of how large banking institutions like the Federal Reserve and global banks were devaluing our own labor and our currency that represents our labor and time, to the point where now, what the hell is this? $100 in the year that the Federal Reserve was founded in order to stabilize the currency has become, is that even a value anymore? Like, what is that? $1? 45 cents? Excuse me? P.S. If you want like real legitimate sources from which that infographic was sourced from, this is Fred. Fred is, I know Fred sounds like a dude, but Fred is actually like the official government website that tracks all these metrics. And you can see the exact same thing, $100 from the year that the Federal Reserve was founded, 1913, and then it devalues down to blank, whatever the hell that is with inflation. Let me remind you, the point of the Federal Reserve was to stabilize the currency and to stop things like bank runs, bank crashes, monetary failure, volatility.
I was also saying that, I said they all in cahoots. I don't know. I be just talking sometimes and forgetting what point I was on, but that's because I finally get to let this shit out. You feel me? I don't have nobody for real to talk about it with besides my brother. We gonna end up doing a podcast. Me and my dad are supposed to too. We all might hop on that mug shoot, but yeah, I'm telling you, I've been wanting to let this out, and it ain't too many, but I'm glad it's the age of awakening. Everybody waking up now, because everybody had the question. It's just nobody wanted to ask the question because that wasn't the normal in society. But who says the normal? Who says what is normal? How do we even know what normal is? Who knows what normal is? It's only what the government or the people before the government. It's only normal is what normal has been made. Back then, what today is normal wouldn't been normal back then. What was normal back then ain't normal today. So it's only normal what somebody makes normal. Meaning the power, the one that got the most power. If they say this goes, then it goes, and then eventually over time it will become normal. how do we know who says what it is? You feel me?
That was the whole stated goal of the Fed. Literally the first thing the Fed did was steal a bunch of value.
So my point is, what I'm saying is be you. That's all I'm saying.
The American people. But it wasn't just the Federal Reserve and the big banks that we found behind the curtain every time we looked. Because there's an awful lot of other people and corporations mainly that are benefiting from the current structure.
If you like doing research and reading books and shit like that, do what you do. But don't let nobody say you weird just because of what you do. Who says what is weird? Just because society says it is, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, some shit like, okay, so just like in school, how people would make fun of you if you raised your hand, was trying to answer questions and shit like that, they'd be like they'd be trying to call you smart and make fun of you because you're smart, but my nigga, that's not no bad thing. Now, maybe being just school smart, yeah, because being school smart will lead you just to working the rest of your life. But searching for world smarts, like people who have street smarts, should already see this. But they deny it because the world is already hard enough as it is, because they designed it to be like that. They keeping the poor poor and the rich rich. Everybody knows that, but nobody knows that. When you know how it happens and what's going on and the truth behind it, then that's when you start to be like, okay, now let's take some action. We gotta do something, you feel me? Because we can't keep letting them get away with this shit. We just letting them get away with it.
Our world. Do you have any idea how much money is in this photo right now? Let me remind you that the contracts that companies like Lockheed Martin or Raytheon, just to name a few, the contracts that these defense contractors get come from government money. They're not out there at like the mall selling cell phone cases to make money with which to build these fighter jets. They're getting paid by the government to build these fighter jets, which, you know, that's cool. We gotta defend everybody. We gotta defend our borders and all. No big deal. But like, how many borders do we gotta defend?
And let's be real. Even the people that goes to war don't even really know what they go to war for. They just go to war for what they tell them about. Oh, we got to fight this country because they're the bad guys. How do we know they're the bad guys? They faked the 9/11. So how do we know who's the real? The point I'm making is, go look at what's happening in Gaza right now. I'm still getting updates about it. And Trump signed some declaration about they gonna cease fire and ain't gonna stop bombing them and shit, and release the rest of the people in the concentration camps. What that sound like to y'all? History. If you learn history, you know it repeats itself, and it's literally repeating itself because they designing it they know all the plans and they know what's gonna happen because they made it to happen, they planned it to happen, they designed it to happen. They're just fulfilling Bible prophecies that didn't already happen. They're trying to seem like they're the ones in control. And yeah, that's a whole nother topic on its own, but literally they planned everything out. That's how they know everything gonna happen.
You know.
And that's why a lot of people are starting to wake up now, because if nobody was to wake up right and talk about it like this, it wouldn't be too many people probably doing it. But they seeing people out here. There's so many fake YouTube channels I was watching that I didn't even know was sent to spread this information, and you know what I'm saying, which is not fake, but they controlled opposition. They was sent out here to say this shit, to wake people up. If it probably wasn't for them and the couple people who was already up on game and was researching, then who knows where we would be today. We'd probably still be kind of just blindly following along, not asking questions. But they literally planning everything that happened.
I dare you to guess how much money is in this photo. And I don't know. Like, I ain't got the answer.
If they think about it, if the government wanted to, they could have been getting up. The world will believe the government before they just believe a random like me. So they could have been doing this shit behind closed doors and nobody knew nothing for years. Nobody knew nothing because the people that come out, the people that work there, if they stop working there, all they gotta do is kill them off. Or if they start speaking on it, people gonna think they crazy. And you could be like, oh, I work there, I seen it happen. People still gonna think you crazy. Then they built mental asylums, insane asylums, so for people like that. So if they can throw them in there, and so they can make them think they crazy. That I'm telling you, it get deep.
Nothing. You can do your own research on that. That's not the point. Because the thing is, behind the curtain, we found more than just a giant military-industrial complex just chomping away at all of our produced value that we pay in taxes that we did not vote for. Yes, let me remind you that these dollars are produced by us when we work with our time to produce money to feed our families. Then we have to pay that to our government, which is doing this shit with it. But wait, because there's more. But the thing is that all along while we were doing this research, something kept coming up over and over and over. No matter what topic I was looking into, no matter what we were learning, no matter how many legitimate government sources, official documents, very qualified facts we were sourcing, we inevitably ran into the same problem. Is right now there is a hunger amongst the people, amongst the populace, to know what's going on. Everybody wants to feel like we can find the real truth. And we all know that we're being lied to by mainstream media and politicians and paid off experts. And everyone's tuning in to try to figure out what's really going on. But the problem is that there just seems to be no end to corporations or other strange, shady interests pushing and subscribing to conspiracy theories.
And if you don't know what that Q is, I think that Q is QAnon. I might be wrong, but it might be QAnon. Quora or QAnon. I think it's QAnon though.
It's all just a bunch of conspiracy theories, goddammit. How did we end up here? I was not trying to talk about this thing. I was trying to cite real facts about this guy who really was running a international, the thing that we can't say ring, and he was definitely working with at least one international intelligence agency, getting blackmail on a lot of famous and powerful people. We know this by now. And I don't know if you believe in this thing or not. I'm not stressed if you do or don't. I don't. We'll look into that another time. But isn't it a little weird that this conspiracy theory about a global Schmedishmile ring just happens to gain prominence like a year or two before the real thing gets found out and arrested and then does totally not unalive himself in prison? Except isn't it weird that this one includes things like satanic ritual worship and eating of flesh and
yeah, I think there might be QAnon.
Of things lizard people are I don't know what, suddenly Trump is the Messiah. I'm not trying to hate on Trump, whatever, you believe what you want. I'm not stressed about that. I'm just saying isn't it kind of sus that we have an HBO original documentary making big bucks about to come out off of this exact conspiracy theory? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We got the Illuminati popping up everywhere. I mean, apparently Beyonce's even making Illuminati hand gestures at concerts just because she made a triangle. That's not to mention that we got lizard people. We got aliens, which we legitimately...
And it's all the artists. Just go search them up. Search celebrities throwing up the rock or celebrities throwing up the pyramid, and it will be so many of them pop up, all type of different people that you would have never even probably knew was we
talk about, because that's not necessarily a conspiracy theory anymore. We got hollow earth, got flat earth. Homie, at what point do we stop and ask, why are there so many conspiracy theories these days? And yeah, it'd be real convenient to explain that by just saying oh, people will naturally come up with conspiracy theories and it's the age of the internet and everyone wants to make up a conspiracy and everyone just wants to believe. But when you actually look at real evidence of how this world works, and you look into certain intelligence agencies, I got some shit to show you. And this is where we went from just running a TikTok channel to realizing that we needed to dive a little deeper. So, it's time we talk about COINTELPRO. If you don't know what COINTELPRO is, here's a basic primer. This is a Wikipedia page. Yes, oh my gosh, it's Wikipedia. It's so dangerous. Trust me, it's sourced from congressional hearings, legitimate documents. You can look this up yourself. Back in the 70s,
And I used to not use Wikipedia because I thought it was, they told you, I remember in school, they told us not to use that because anybody could go in there and change it. And it's not a for real sourceful. But still, I recently started kind of using it, and that must be more correct. It be correct. But now just don't go off that. Of course, go use some other stuff, but it be correct though. And that might be why they said don't, because then you can click on other stuff that lead, like other stuff, like them blue tabs. If you click on those, it'll take you to other topics, and then you can. I'm telling you, I've been using it too.
hearings. One was called the Church Committee, and one was called the Dwight Committee. What was it called? One was called the Church Committee, and one was called the Pike Committee. Look them up. They happened in '76. By the way, this is back when like politicians and the media actually did have some reputable and integral people in them that actually did ask questions and get.
And I feel like they still do, but I'm gonna do a video on Tommy G tomorrow, and I forgot what it's called, but it's like APAC or something like that. And it's something where the politicians take money and they can't speak, just like artists. They can't speak on what's going on because they pay them. And if they speak on, they got to speak on what the people that's paying them believe. Just like at a job, they paying you, so you can't really speak on certain topics. Of course, you're like, it's a job, but that don't mean nothing. You still got free speech. You can speak on whatever you want to.
And they discovered that the CIA primarily, but also the FBI, the NSA, all the three-letter organizations in this country and beyond, have all been engaging in what's called COINTELPRO, which is short for Counterintelligence Program. And that sounds normal, but what it actually turns into is things like infiltrating and undermining organizations like feminist organizations, Communist Party USA, Vietnam War protesters, Martin Luther King Jr., but also groups like, can I say that on YouTube? I don't know. Like groups with like, the white pointy hats that don't like the people that are brown. Far right, like national states' rights parties. They infiltrate all of them. They infiltrate, they engage in psychological warfare, they discredit, they undermine, they blackmail, they harass with false testimony, false imprisonment. They make made-up documentaries that look very convincing in order to portray organizations in bad lights. They turn organizations against each other. They extremify, divide. They even compiled a whole tape of blackmail on Martin Luther King and then sent it to him with a letter trying to convince him to unalive himself.
And he's talking about COINTELPRO, a CIA FBI operation.
This is the letter. This is all publicly available information on Wikipedia.
They even infiltrated artists. A lot of these artists are CIA and FBI agents. Why do you think they can openly talk about drug dealing and all this other shit? Shooting people and all this other shit. Because they're paid to do it. And not even that, and they're paid, and yes, they're paid to do it because guess what? The music industry is in cahoots. They got contracts with the prison system. So they try to keep people out here doing that so they can keep on getting their money. Yeah.
That was all committed by our own governmental organization, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, our own government, obviously for our own benefit and safety though, right? Like obviously for the greater good. Behind me, you can see what's called the Corruption Perception Index, keyword perception. So this is a measurement of how corrupt people think their own government is. And all that I'm seeing on this chart is the public deception index, as it
I'm telling you, everywhere else know the United States is more corrupt. Is corrupt. But we don't. We the only ones that think the government is a savior, some type of real help. Everybody knows but us in America, and even in the UK, their government too. Even in the UK, anywhere that we, United States is in cahoots with, for the most part, is corrupt. Why do you think he said, yeah, the banks is in with it too? The banks is in with it too. That's why you think the cartel, they working with the cartel. How you think the cartel get all that money and they got guns and shit like that? The government work with them and shit. That's why you think they got all them government guns and shit, like the government Hummer trucks and all that other shit. What you think they do? They stole that shit? If it was anybody else, they would have been knocked down dead. But how did they get it? Because they in cahoots with them. They gave it to them. How they be running around in the cartel, running around with government trucks like that. What?
And these countries are highly deceived about how.
And we already know they pay off the government and shit. So why would you not think that they working with them if they paying them off?
Corrupt their governments are, and at least these countries know that they're screwed. So it's time we clear this up. These scores are way too high for countries who,
like I keep saying, third world countries is just countries like Haiti and shit like that. It's just countries that said no to not being ruled over by a government. They kept the power in the people's hands. That's all they is. So they keep them poor over there and keep them in war. Keep it poverty over there. They keep it poverty over there. That's all it is, just a bunch of people who said no to not run the government rule.
We know very clearly did mind control experiments on their own citizens, which often resulted in psychosis and even death. They infiltrated civil rights groups like Martin Luther King Jr. and the Black Panthers. They sprayed radioactive material on us. They did Operation Mockingbird, in which they turned our own journalists against us. They started the Vietnam War based upon a false flag staged operation in the Gulf of Tonkin. Not too dissimilar in Kuwait, where we had staged testimony. You can look these things up. And that was about the point where I started to get the feeling that maybe, just maybe, it would be beneficial to the powers that be to start and stoke and inflame a bunch of conspiracy theories that are pretty easily disprovable, just to discredit the ones that aren't. Have you ever considered that we might be all living in one giant PSYOP COINTELPRO operation?
The Truman Show. If you haven't seen that, The Truman Show, go watch that.
Every day? I mean, how's a journalist going to look into the legitimate facts about this problem when it's just going to lead to them being accused of being one of these dudes? I'm out here trying to learn about the military-industrial complex and why endless war is not a good thing, and I've got people in my TikTok comments being like, the deep state is a dog whistle for the far-right groups. It's like, bro, dog whistle me that. Oh, it's just so frustrating. There's so much bullshit out there in this world. And really, it makes sense if you think about it. Because back in the day, during Vietnam and before, all media was controlled by newspapers, TV, and radio. And all of that was easy to tie up into a nice bundle and control behind the scenes with money. But not the internet, baby. These days, we have the power to share information amongst ourselves and to spread ideas to vast numbers of people. Now, when an important document gets declassified, they can't bury it in some little news report that no one's ever going to read.
Or go bury the person. They can't just bury the person no more either. You know how movies would they be like they done working with the person, or they done whatever with the bit, whatever they needed the person for, and they kill them off? Yeah, that shit is real. So they no information get out. And if they do let them go, than that most likely controlled opposition. And they saying stuff like that, like Candace Owens. Because if she was for real to release more than what she know, she would not be on that show anymore. You already know how that goes.
We can all spread it amongst ourselves. And in a world like that, there's only really
And you know what I say, if it rhyme is true. Been saying that for years.
one way to control information, and it's pretty obvious when you think about it. The only way to control the narrative in this century is to pollute the narrative. And boy, has the narrative been polluted. So I decided to start a YouTube channel to unpollute that shit. It's based upon 3 primary realizations. Call it 3 dimensions of investigation, if you will. In order to understand money, you have to understand power. Power can be explained in this modern world in 5 sectors: the intelligence community, the international banking cartel, organized crime, the military-industrial complex, and all the other corporations and corporatocracy in our world.
And if you don't know, banks ain't even for real ran by the government. It's ran by regular people like me and you. It's not no federal place. It's a place like J.P. Morgan, like somebody like one of them, Vanderbilt's, somebody like that is running that mug and made it to where we are now giving them, tricked us into giving them our money pretty much. Do you realize anybody can go start a bank? What you think Black Wall Street was? Go search Black Wall Street. I know y'all, well, some of y'all probably remember that. There was plenty of them. But we just know about one of them in Tulsa.
You might say, oh, but
At one point, we was rivaling the regular Wall Street in New York.
government and politics. Yeah, let's be real. Government and politics is tight within that hand, and they ain't getting out. The second dimension by which we need to investigate everything is that to learn the truth, you must understand distruth. In order to find what's really going on, we need to learn how to sift through all the lies, all the COINTELPRO, all the bullshit that is getting put in our way intentionally to obscure the truth. And lastly, the third dimension is time. In order to understand what's happening right now, I've realized that we need to understand what already happened and brought us to this moment. And so we're going to investigate. We're going to look at real evidence, try to find real sources, and give everything a fair shake with an open mind. If it seems to stand up, we'll consider it. If it seems to be disproven, we'll set it aside. Maybe think about it another time. We'll always remember that we can be wrong, and we will most definitely be misled. Nobody's perfect, and I am not qualified. I am no expert. I'm just doing this because someone's got to do it, and I'm someone. So I just want to finish by saying thank you for being here. Thank you for having a level head and an open mind and coming here asking questions and trying to do the research with us. If you've been here since the beginning at TikTok,
No, for real though, because somebody got to do it. We can't just keep on relying on them, man. At one point, the power was in the people's hands, sort of. Not still really, but in a way, it was kind of more in our hands. Now all the power is in the government hands, and it's like nobody. It's like this is like at work. Everybody is big and bad with the regular manager until the big boss come in. Once the big boss come in, everybody's scared and tuck their tail and they stop doing what they doing, make sure the place cleaned up and all that other shit for the most part. If we can be big and bad in the streets and kill off our own people and run people out of the city, why can't we do that with the government? We can shoot at cops now and do all that stuff. Well, y'all doing all that stuff now, but soon as the government come, the president or some shit like that, the big boys, oh man, it's over with. It's over with. Some people even still running from of course nobody wants to get locked up, but some people, it's because it's in our DNA trauma. It's been passed down. DNA and blood holds all that too. It holds trauma. It's been passed down from over the years because we know what cops and sheriffs started off as anyway. So it's been traumatized into us and ingrained into us. But I mean, shoot, at some point, what we gonna do? We gonna be like cows and get led to our slaughter in the slaughterhouse? I mean, I'm not. I'm gonna be that one cow that try to jump over that goddamn fence and run. I don't care if I get killed, because it's better than going to the slaughterhouse and get your fuck it. I mean, either way, I was gonna get killed. So, I don't know, but I'm gonna be that one that take the other path. I'm not taking the normal, the regular road there. I'm not. Jesus said, narrow is the road. I'm not taking the broad gate. I'm going the way everybody call me out, call me a conspiracy theory, call me crazy. I don't give a fuck. But at least I'm not gonna be tricked into some shit that I don't want to do. A lot of people can't even tell if they finna get tricked into a cult or not. That's how a lot of people join them. You probably be like, oh shit, I ain't gonna never do that. But how you gonna know if you don't know? Just like these artists, they get tricked into this shit and they don't know until they know and realize, and then by then it's too late. They're already into it. What do you mean? Like, you don't know unless you know. So if you don't do the research to know, how are you gonna know? I'm asking questions. I'm always gonna ask questions. If I couldn't get it from somebody, I'm gonna get it somewhere. I'm gonna find an answer, bro. I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not. Everybody say they don't like to be lied to, but guess what? I really mean it. I don't care who it is, government or not. Nigga, you not gonna fucking lie to me. Now, if I don't know, I don't know it. I ain't gonna even, whatever. If it's affecting me, then yeah. Like staying poor, like us in the poor, we know they keep us poor, and the rich stay rich because they keep us poor. But when are we going to know and do something about it? We know, but we still gonna let it continue to happen. So let me just come up to you and lie to your face then. Oh shit, people already do it. Cause even if you live a lie, guess what? If you live a lie long enough, it'll start to become the reality. You'll start to believe it yourself. So really nobody's running around lying, because shit, it did it so long that you're starting to live it. So I really don't like to be lied to, so I'm searching for the truth. I don't care if it's the government. I don't care if it's a random. I had one time I was delivering a package. Somebody told me I couldn't because it's a package. You feel me? I thought it was it's mail, nigga. I put it in the mailbox, right? Hell no, delivering for roadie. You can't put them packages in the mailbox. You got to put it on the porch. A USPS person, post person came and told me, I thought he was just playing with me, saying I can't put it in the mailbox. I was like, oh, for real? Okay, I was just joking with him, like, oh, you right for something, you know what I'm saying? I said something, and then I was like, wait, you for real? Because I thought about it. I was like, wait, you for real? And he was like, yeah, you got to break it down. So I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, for sure, appreciate it. I hopped back off in the car, I searched it up myself, and guess what? It was true. I can't put it in the post office. In the mailbox, because it's not a for real federal government thing. It's just a business out. It's just somebody made it. You feel me? But shit, is the mail even government? We don't even know anymore. Shit, we know the bank ain't. We know the IRS ain't. So what do we know? All we can do is search and find out. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. For y'all.